live. Mm-hmm.
There you
We
go.
are recording.
Yep, on YouTube and live.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm RJ Horner, along with
Ernest Leon.
and we are your beacon of leadership. And today, thank you for joining us for today's podcast. I'm excited about this episode because as leaders, as thought leaders, really we have processes, we have things that we need to put in place in order to be able to serve, in order to be able to help people. And I believe maybe it's not the number one skill, but it is certainly one skill that you must have in order to serve out there, in order to help people, in order to accomplish anything. You must take initiative and put things out there. You must put effort in order to receive reward or to receive that, in order to make progress, put it that way. So I'm very excited because I've offered the opportunity to have the panel, to have that panel discussion. I did it again.
RJ,
Yeah, unfortunately,
what's going on?
unfortunately, that background screen came up again. So again, I apologize for that, but yeah, so we do have a panel discussion today. It's not just Curtis and I having our say, and that's what I want this community to be. Once again, I have Jim Hetherington joining us. He's been on our podcast before, as well as today we have a special guest, Tammy Williams, who's also a fellow thought leader and influencer herself. So let's introduce our panel today. Of course, we have myself and Curtis Leung. Jim Hetherington, who we know is familiar to our community. Jim, let people know a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. It's great to be here. Good to see you guys. Haven't seen you for a little bit. So it's nice to come and hang out. So yeah, I'm a relationship expert. That's my field. I've been married for 40 years. I've been coaching and mentoring for over 34 years. I've run my own company for 27 years, and I was a pastor for 23 years. So there's not too many areas of relationship I can't dig into and have an experience. And like I tell people, at this stage of life, I've learned how to get in the doghouse, out of the doghouse, and how to stay out of the doghouse. So, and I teach people how to do that. So I've gotten really good at doing that. And I work closely with a lot of entrepreneurs. I mean, over these last few years, so much has happened in the world, hasn't it? And everybody is, making their voice known. Like you said, they're stepping out, making their voice known. And I find myself working more and more with entrepreneurs now, trying to find that balance in life between all those relationships. So that's me in a nutshell.
Thanks, Jim. Absolutely. And so, again, we do serve those coaches, authors, speakers, entrepreneurs who are trying to step up and become leaders. Never has it been more important for people to become leaders, to step forth and help others out there. Also joining us today, we have Tammy Williams, who a member of our community. I really haven't got to know you that well as of yet, Tammy. So tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, first of all, let me say thank you for having this platform. I have been watching all of you on Facebook and your social media. So I actually feel like I'm actually one of those fans right now. The crowd goes, ah! I'm right here with all of you. So a pleasure for me to be here. Simple for me. I'm a mompreneur. I'm a mom of 3 and I'm a wife. I still make my husband's lunch, and I'm all about helping people in business. And it's about providing people solutions. I come from a publishing space, so I'm really, really good with entrepreneurs, people who are trying to change from a brick to mortar to click to order with their social media, their website, and also making sure that they monetize on that. My biggest heart is being pulled towards women. I'm the founder of Women Champagne and Real Estate, and also Crypto Smart Chicks. It's about empowering women with opportunities that we did not have knowledge about for years. Years and years ago, women weren't even allowed to get a loan or credit or buy property. And once you get married, and I'm married for like 24 years, you kind of get hidden from your partner. And so my space is a safe place for women to understand that they can create their own economy, earning residual income, passive income, with all things to do with real estate, and getting ahead of the curve so that we don't have to rely just on our partners and a job, but we can actually do exactly what we want, when we want, and who we want to do it with. And that entails everything from real estate as well as working from home. So that's me in a nutshell.
Sounds great, Tammy. I like it.
Absolutely. And thank you. You know what? The moms out there, kudos to them, mompreneurs especially, because look, I appreciate my wife, and I can't give her enough kudos, because she goes out there, and she's not an entrepreneur, but she goes out there and she does her job day in and day out, and which is a difficult job. She helps to run a school, but then she comes home and takes care of the household as well. I have a small role to play in that. My wife is the spearhead in that, and like you say, Jim, trying to stay out of the doghouse can be a chore. So I totally understand that. So, and thank you, Tammy, for saying you're a fan, because it means a lot. We wonder of whether we're reaching and whether we're connecting with people out there. So thank you for reaffirming our value in what we do. And again, we're talking about initiative today.
Pause there a little bit. So I guess we're talking about initiative and what it means to you, and how do you implement it in your life as a leader. That's what I think he's about to say. He's froze out there for a second. So Jim, what does it mean to you to have initiative in your business and in your personal life?
Yeah. The truth is, as entrepreneurs, running our own businesses, juggling family, personal relationships and stuff, we got to be our number one cheerleader at times. Like, we really got to step up. We get so conditioned, and we have gotten conditioned over the years, because there's so many different government agencies. There's an agency for this, that, and everything else. And we've gotten so used to somebody else stepping up when there's a problem or something. There's always somebody. And when we get into corporate worlds, everybody's got their little department and everything else, right? So taking initiative is just that ability to step up and take some action before somebody else does, and be willing to take that that risk of taking some action, because that's really what it is. There's a lot of risk in taking action sometimes. And so oftentimes we can get in our heads, can't we? We get in our heads, we're going, okay, I don't know if this is going to work. I'm not sure. Do I step out? Do I try it? And then the next thing you know, you see somebody's doing it and become really successful with it. Meanwhile, we're still stuck in our heads. And so sometimes it's giving ourselves permission just to step out and try it. We can give ourselves 20 reasons why it won't work, but what if it did? So taking initiative is just stepping up with that, just with that self-will, that self-determination, that willpower, that drive, and just not relying on or expecting someone else to do it. And in households, RJ said he's got a small role, and that's so often what happens. Somebody takes the strong role in a household or in a business or in any kind of setup, And we're afraid. We just to kind of sit back and say, okay, we'll let them take that role. We'll let them take that initiative and take all the steps. Meanwhile, we may not be, really stepping out and exploring our fullness of our gifts and the talents and the resources and all the things that, God's given us to be on this planet with, right? And so we just sit back and allow someone else that's got maybe a little bit more stronger initiative and stuff. I think we all need to step up in, different areas and find that. And I don't mean that in a, being crude and being brash or anything, but respectfully saying, I've got an idea here, and take some initiative with it and just see what happens.
Very good. Yeah. So you say kind of like take ownership and responsibility for yourself to get certain things done.
Yeah. And not just sitting back waiting for someone else to do it.
Yep.
Right. You might be the person that needs to get it done. Right. You might be the one that's got that, the real, a real solid idea.
Yep, for sure. RJ's coming back, I believe. What do you think, Tammy, about initiative as a person in your business?
Initiative, I love that word for many reasons, especially because someone that looks like me. And, often we sometimes get overlooked in jobs and positions. And if you come from a different walk of life, sometimes, you're not given opportunity. And so as a mother, and also working with people as an entrepreneur, I often tell them that any level of success will be found when you start to be initiative, take the initiative to do something. There's an old saying around there that's saying that, if you do more than what you're paid for, eventually you'll get paid more than whatever you thought you could ever get paid. And so I like to say that it's like acting in whatever you're doing as opposed to reacting to something. And I love what Jim said in the sense of stepping out there. Sometimes it can come off as we're arrogant and like, who do we think we are? People might say, but if we're doing it in an engaging way, I find that there's several things that could happen. We could actually influence someone else to take initiative on something, or they're going to influence us to sit back. So if it's for the greater good, which I believe most of the initiatives that are out there is for something in good. That's what's in mind, to be good, that we can encourage other people. We also give people permission to stand up. We also give people permission to say, I have an idea. We give people permission to say, I'm going to do this as well. Like we were talking about this just the other day about, setting up a church hall, being a volunteer, and you're told to just clean this area. And you see someone else after this is all done, they're over there in another room doing all these things. And you're like, why are they doing that? We weren't told to do that. It's because that person took initiative to do more. And we hear it all the time. It sounds a little cliche. Go the extra mile. There's not any traffic there.
Yeah, that's right.
And that it's true.
That's right. There's no one there usually.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. I like that saying. It's awesome.
And I heard that was a Paula Abdul quote. And when I heard it was Paula Abdul, I went, wow, where does she come up with wisdom like that? But
I feel like dancing now because you said Paula Abdul. There must be a song in there. Go.
Yep.
And you know what? That's what it boils down to, right? Like there are so many people out there who have ideas, who have concepts. And truthfully, that's all they are at this point, right? They're a concept and they don't know what to do with it. They don't know where to go with it, or if they should be the one to go and step forward and do it. But like you said, with the church hall, you know what I mean? It's just a matter of, I'm going to take ownership of this. I'm going to go do this. I don't have to be told to do it. I'm going to do it on my own volition and carry forward and see where that goes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So you're collaborating with others too, right? When you show an initiative, sometimes you need other support. Like if you're like you're saying you're at the church there, you have other people doing jobs. Like, hey, maybe if I do this, we might get this done as well.
Right. I feel that being in the right leadership also encourages that initiative. Like what you were saying, Jim, sometimes it's a little bit, you don't know if this is a good idea or if I should do this. But I think the right leader brings off the right energy and creates that culture where, oh my goodness, my idea is not going to be shut down, or me stepping outside of this task I've already done and added to it, So that's what I love about Beacon leadership as well. You're all empowering each one of us I seen this something on Pringles, the Pringle chips. And they had this saying on there, think outside the bag.
Mm.
So I feel that's what you're bringing to all of us in fruition, with our own qualities and then enhancing us. So you're creating the actual environment for us to act more than react.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Go ahead, Jim.
No, I was going to say, and Tammy, I think you touched on this, was, that when we step out and take initiative to do something, we know that there's other people watching us. And so when we step out and take initiative, we our peers, the people around us are going to say, hey, they step out and took some action. Nobody chopped their head off. Nobody cut them down. Nobody locked them in a room. They actually encourage that. So that speaks volumes. And then also, for those, you talked about being a mom, and, we're all parents here, we're setting examples for our kids. We're not just sitting back, allowing things to unfold and just go the way, the natural course. We're actually taking some initiative to try to correct things, or try to make things better, try to clean things up a little bit more. And now we're speaking to a generation coming up behind us that's going to start to take some initiative as well. And the other thing I think too is, in order to really fulfill the initiative that, the drive that's in us, it's going to cause us to step out. So if we've got an idea or a thought or a service or something that we think would be good in the market, we owe it to ourselves to test it. And we test it by getting other people that have either been successful in that area that we want to learn about, or people that are smarter than we are, that we can bounce the idea off of, that we have trust, we have confidence in, that we can bounce the idea off of and start to tweak it a little bit. That's taking an initiative, because it all starts in a dream. It all starts with an idea, and it's just, what are you going to do with that idea? And how are you going to test it out and see if it's really worth it? And so it causes us to step into places like this, where we can call on other leaders, we can call on other mentors, we can call on people that are experts and find out what they say, and get their side of it. Because the thing is, sometimes we want to take initiative. We can only see one angle of it. We can see the angle that we want to move forward in. So getting others, they're helping us to see all the other different angles, and that's either going to approve the thing and validate it, or it's going to say, maybe you need to adjust it, or maybe you need to rethink it. But it all starts with taking that idea and start finding the people that you can trust and have confidence with, and just that there's a great place to start taking an initiative right there.
What do you mean there's somebody smarter than me out there, Jim?
Yeah, there might be one or two.
Yeah.
I know I found a couple that are smarter than me. It wasn't that hard, so I
You know what? I don't think it's about the level of intelligence, or, one person's smarter than another. I think we all have something to contribute, right?
Yep.
And like Curtis said, it's about collaborating and working together. Look, Curtis and I, we've been trying to do our own ventures, and we still are. We're still creating our own coaching and things like that. But when we started working together on this venture, now it's become something. Now it's a value to people out there, and we work together at it. And we also induce all of the members of our community to participate, to add their value, and to help contribute, so that they can inspire and help other people out there. Because look, no matter what, we can't do it alone, right? You may want to. I was a loner for a long time. And until I overcame that thought process and that attitude, I wasn't going anywhere. At least I wasn't going very far.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a post on Facebook the other day about you can't get to the mountain by yourself, or to the top of the mountain. And I thought, well, you can, but I mean, you're going to be tired and hungry by the time you get there, right? You're going to be exhausted. Yeah, go ahead, Curtis.
Yeah, if you know anybody who climbs Mount Everest or Kilimanjaro, they always have a team of people or experts that have done it before, right?
Yeah.
I like that thought. They have a guide. They always hire a guide. And that's what we are. We're the coaches and mentors. We're the guides who are not going to, and the humble ones anyways, they're not going to be here telling you this is what you got to do, or this is how you get there. They're going to be walking the journey with you, right? They're going to be helping you. Maybe they know a few things. Maybe they know how to get there. And if not, they know how to get the answers and equipment or the resources that are going to help you get there. That's really what it's all about. And like we've been talking about, there are so many people out there who have an idea, who have a thought, who want to help, they want to serve. They just don't know where to start. Start with that idea. take that idea, and I always say, look, start writing it down, start putting it on paper, right? And then the next time you have a thought about it, write it down again, and then write it down again until you have a notebook full of that idea, all on the same concept. And you can start to share it with people, share it with people, and you create this idea just by taking initiative.
Yeah. Yeah. And you were saying there, RJ, that, you don't have to necessarily find smarter people, because everybody has something of value to share. Because we there's, if you put an object in the middle of a table, there's 360 degrees around that object. So there's 360 different ways to look at that. And so the more people that we can include in our lives, regardless of intelligence, they're all going to have a different perspective. And sometimes the simplest perspective is the best perspective, to help us take initiative.
Absolutely. And there's why in brainstorming, there's no idea that's off the table, right? If you have a thought, write it down and let's expand on that thought. Maybe there's a time to eliminate it. It's not of value. It's not of service. But let's expand on those thoughts until we have something of value to create.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
I was
And
just
then go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I was just thinking a minute ago, that we've all probably had, an idea and we thought, now that's not a very smart idea, and then all of a sudden somebody brings it to market or it becomes a real trend or something. And we're going, I thought about that 10 years ago and we didn't do it. So I mean, for all of us, let's take initiative on that. You owe it to yourself. If you get an idea, you should go to work on that idea and take it as far as you can, as quick as you can, to see if it's really valid. That's really, you owe it to yourself, especially if it's something that wakes you up in the middle of the night, right? Those 3 or 4 a.m. little dreams or thoughts or ideas, those are the ones that take some action on, right? And just see how far it goes. Don't ponder on it. And just, I think sometimes we disqualify ourselves because we think we're not smart enough. We think we're not bright enough, and it's just really that self-talk, just that lack of self-confidence. I mean, if you were entrusted with that idea, if that idea came to you, you owe it to yourself to walk that idea out as far as you possibly can.
Yep.
That's initiative.
Yep, for sure. Sometimes the self-belief, like you said, Jim, is a difficult thing for people to believe in themselves, especially when you've failed so many times. Like, oh, it's going to be this or that. And sometimes you just need someone to say, hey, I had this idea. What do you think? And then if they can run with it with you, then you usually find it's going to be more of a productive thing for both of you, right? Or even just talking to someone about a strange idea, like, hey, I did this, or I dreamt about this. What do you think? Like, that's pretty interesting, but maybe something like this would work. And then it triggers other ideas, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes your initiative will help others like create something together, maybe.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Speaking out, right?
Yeah.
Tammy, you're on mute, but I saw your fingers going up there. Did you have something to contribute?
The whole thing is just piggybacking off of what all of you have been saying about working with other people and collaborating. I mean, we can have these ideas. I love this, that you're talking like that. And I think it's so great that we actually get around people, who believe like you and have like minds. I mean, we talk about this a lot of times, and we've heard it before, probably, like, you can do a lot of things by yourself, probably very fast, but how far can you really go by yourself? And so that initiative, again, and the collaborations and the initiative kind of go hand in hand, because I come across a lot of people in entrepreneurship who are doing the same type of work, and they feel they're not going to join another group, a networking meeting or another group, because there's someone else that does what they do, offering the same product or service. And I'm trying to impart to people that there's millions of different types of washer machines and fridge and stoves. The mom and me coming out right now, right? But do you think Maytag or GE said, oh, we're not going to do any more of those because Frigidaire has made all these? No, they don't. They keep on making it better, and having more optimization and all this. So I try to let people know that it's great, because at least they're in that group. That means that there's something there. And we can't be everything to everybody. So again, I think initiative, we need to take that in business settings as well, and not let that hold us back, and again, it just goes right back to the whole thing that we're all talking about, that success really lies within initiative, whatever it is that we're doing,
Yep.
for our families, our business, our job, whatever the case may be. I mean, even if you think about someone who gets a job and doesn't have a degree, because that's what the requirements are for some of these positions, and they go the extra mile at work. They work through their lunch, they stay late, they do extra, they ask for extra, they don't wait till 4:45, the last little bit of papers or whatever it is, and now they're done, they stay extra. And they're the ones that often get promoted. They're the ones that get acknowledged. Meanwhile, the person with the degree and all the accolades doesn't. It's because they had taken on that initiative. And so I feel that it's so valuable, and it's really key. I am trying to impart that on, not trying, I don't like the word trying. I'm imparting that on to my children as well, that they have to take, you see a piece of garbage that just flew, recycling, for example, the recycling, it's not your cigarette package. It's not your brand of milk, but it's over here in front of your driveway or something.
Yep.
You pick it up, you're shoveling snow. Don't stop here. They're
your
gonna
neighbors.
walk. They're gonna walk. They walk this path every day with their dog. So just shovel a little bit more. You're already out there. Take initiative and because they don't have a job yet, right? Just the house jobs. So it's in everything that we do, from infancy stage, I believe, all the way up to entrepreneurship and business. Yeah.
Sweet.
Absolutely. And you know what we talked about, you mentioned it, business and leadership really is our focus here. But for those people, seeking a job or seeking a better job or a better role, take an initiative. What is it? What is the job description? What are the requirements of that job? Oh, I don't fit into these requirements. I don't have these qualifications. So then what do? If you really want that job, you go out in there and you take that degree, or you sign up for that course, or maybe you go out and have some interviews with people who are in that role, or your senior management team, and discuss the options for what do I need to get into that role? What is it going to take? Right. So there's a way to take the initiative in order to put yourself into the place that you want to be. Right. One of the things I heard from somebody the other day, was, in fact, I think it was Earl Nightingale, is that the purpose of everything is to bridge the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. And then the question is, what is it going to take? Look, one day between this island and that island, there was nothing, but somebody built that bridge. Somebody took the initiative to bridge the gap between one and the other.
Right. Yeah.
Sure.
And the initiative conversation is big amongst us entrepreneurs, because a lot of times as an employee, you don't get a chance to stand out as much as you like to, because you're looked at, the person that's looking to be as a pet. You're the pet of the boss, the supervisor. But I believe in entrepreneurship and business ownership. It allows us more freedom to have that initiative, that we can do more for our clients. They're paying for this on that piece of paper in those service offerings on our website. But then we wow them with taking the initiative to give them more than they even paid for, So we do have a lot more autonomy, I find, in business ownership, to take the initiative. Well, listen, I'm paying, this web design person, this for the 5 pages, and you're offering me 10 pages with A, B, C, D attitude. You know what I mean? So we can stand out in lots of different ways. I find in business, take an initiative, and then you get known very well from people when they start talking about you. And that's because you took initiative in that role of a business owner, giving them more service. Like, talk about servicing people.
Yeah. And I think, just to spin off of that a little bit more is, just finding, a unique way to go at an old problem.
Right.
Like you were saying, Tammy, that, GE didn't give up on making washers just because, somebody else did. They found something unique. They found a different style. They found a better way to do it. So what? There's, a gazillion life coaches out there, or business coaches. What's your unique perspective? What's unique about you? What's one thing that you can do better than anyone else? What's your unique way of going at it? And it'll just speak volumes to people's lives when you can come in a brand new, a fresh new way. It's not like you're reinventing the wheel. It's just, you're just taking a different approach to it and doing something completely unique and different.
I like that, Jim. That's good. That's good. Some good words there.
Yeah,
for sure.
And the other thing I was thinking too is, you know, sometimes when we share stuff, you know, we'll immediately get a no from somebody. Oh, that's not a good idea, or you shouldn't do that, or you know, kids will get peer pressure, you know, for taking initiative in the classroom, let's say, to, you know, to clean up or to do something, help the teacher. They'll you know, other students will just, oh, don't do that, you know, you're just being you know, you're trying to be the teacher's pet and all that stuff. I think we have to use wisdom to decide whose no's we listen to, right? Because sometimes we'll get people that are just jealous or envious or too afraid to do it themselves, and they're going to say no, 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 trying to beat us down. And we got to say, all right, should I listen to that person? You know, are they wiser, smarter, better than me? Well, probably not, you know, but they got some other experience that maybe I should listen to them, or are they just trying to, you know, just kind of keep me down at their level because they're afraid to take initiative, they're afraid to step up. So we really have to, you know, use some wisdom in balancing that out. Just because someone says no doesn't mean it's a bad idea. We really need to balance that out, and with some wisdom to decide whether we should pursue it or not.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I've been told no a lot in my life. You know, and I got visibly and emotionally discouraged, right? You know, slumped shoulders, ready to stalk away because somebody's told me no. And of course, you don't go any further. You don't try to pursue this any further. You don't put pressure on this resistance, right? But there's why, you know, if you are taking initiative, you are stepping forward. Again, you need self-belief. You do. And there's also the discussion of introvert versus extrovert, right? An extrovert is somebody who goes out there, they show themselves, they're not afraid of what people are going to say. It's taken me a long time. I think I'm almost an extrovert at this point. But because I've overcome these attitudes, right? But there are the introverted who they want to stay in the background. They want to shrink. They're the shrinking violet type, right? How would you recommend they overcome that area? Or is that something they have to overcome in order to take the initiative? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I got lots of thoughts. Because I'm an introvert. Like by nature, I'm introverted. And you know, so you know, you get the, you know, you get the old expression, opposites attract. And sometimes, you know, and it's so true. You know, we need to be, you know, we are going to be attracted to people that are opposite, only because of that, for that reason. You know, an extrovert or an introvert is going to be attracted to an extrovert because they you know, they love that outgoingness. They, you know, there's something about that that's freeing for them. They can't do it, so they're kind of living vicariously through them. So I think we need to look at that and decide whether we, you know, how we can do it. So someone that's introverted, you know, if you've got an idea and you're an introvert, find someone that's got a little bit more charisma, a little bit more outspoken, a little bit more out there, and, you know, befriend them. Just share the idea with them, or just, you know, get to know them a little bit so that they can help you in your voice. You know, find people that have the strengths that you don't have. We need that in businesses. That's what we do all the time, right? We look for people. If we're weak in an area of, you know, in administrating, for example, we're looking for administrators. If we don't know how to manage projects properly, we're looking for a manager. We're looking for people to fulfill the gifts that we don't have. And it's no different between an extrovert and introvert. We need to, you know, I had to stop using that as a crutch. Let's put it that way. You know, because it was easy for me just to sit in the back of the classroom, to sit in the back of the meetings and not talk and stuff. So we have to stop using that as a crutch and just say, okay, I need to step out of my comfort zone. I need to get myself around people and find their strength. If I'm not strong in publicly speaking, then either work on your public speaking or find someone that can be a little bit more of a voice to help you grow in that area. And so it's just finding the right people, you know, because like you said earlier, RJ, you know, we can't make it to the mountain on our own. We need to have other people. We need a support system. We need a whole team to journey through that. If for no other reason to pull us out of a snowbank, if we fall down in the snowbank, is we're going up the mountain. I mean, we need people there. And so it's finding people that can fill in those voids of those weaknesses.
Yep,
for sure. And in case you didn't notice, I'm pretty sure that's why Curtis and I are together. In case you haven't noticed by our interview styles, I'm outspoken. I'm free with my words. I'm comfortable talking to people. I'm comfortable sharing. Curtis, a little more reserved, a little more quiet. Not to say that he's a shrinking violet or anything, but he is a little more quiet and not as outspoken, not as maybe look, I've been told I have a loud mouth. I'm a little bit aggressive sometimes. Curtis is almost the exact opposite type of person. He's very calm, very relaxed, very quiet, and he helps balance me out in that area. So Curtis, continue your thoughts.
Well, basically I do what I do because that's who I am. But I'm a silent but deadly person. So I've took martial arts for a long time, so I know how to take care of business basically. But I know that you don't have to be all up in front and people's faces all the time. Sometimes that little quiet little person behind picks up all the information and does the job behind people's backs that no one knows. Like if you're running a business, there's people that help. There's the leader, and there's all the people around him that does all the work that no one knows. Like how does Grant Cardone run a multi-million-dollar business? He has people working for him that love him and take care of him, and they know that by doing their job well, that they get paid well, and then it helps him. Yeah. So I think that's one of those like team player type people that just in the background, the steppers I like to be. I can be up front if need be, but I prefer to be in the background doing all the little doodad stuff that people don't know anything about. Yeah, and I do. So that's what I like.
And you guys are a perfect example of what we were just talking about here with extrovert and introvert. If we're going to use, we could use you two, because, RJ, you said that there's things in Curtis's life that kind of balance you out that you recognize. And then, but I know that RJ, if you backed off, you would draw Curtis out. Right, because he would step into the front. So so it's learning the gifts that we have, the strengths that we have, the way we like to serve, but creating a void that would entice the other one to step up into it, or to step back into it. Right, so we can use that. So I mean, you guys are a perfect example, of that and how well it can work. Because I mean, the minute your picture froze, Curtis was there in a heartbeat. He didn't miss a skip. He didn't miss a step at all. He stepped right in there, carried the conversation, carried it on until you joined back in. So it's a perfect example of just creating. Sometimes we need to create that space for one another to step into it.
Yeah, it's cool, Jim.
And I think learning where you fit in too is a big part of it, right? Knowing not necessarily your role, but how you can contribute. And of course, taking the initiative like Curtis did when we froze and I lost, just stepping up.
Good example, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So
to piggyback off of that all day, that whole concept, because similar to you, both of you, all three of you, pardon me, I was an introvert as well. Just imagine someone that looks like me, and people can't see me on the podcast, but in a school, very few people that look like me. In a classroom, I was the only one that looked like me. Right. So I was very quiet and introvert for a long time. And I want to attribute that to me coming out of that shell was, I believe it's like a sales job, a fundraising job that I did, like telemarketing, hearing all the no's and, realizing I'm still alive, and then realizing I like to laugh and I want to be around people that laugh, so that made me push myself out of that shell. And I believe that's why it's so important for pretty much everyone to share their stories in authorship, co-authorship, because we can inspire other people who maybe have experienced the same thing we have, not knowing how to deal with it. And, you often hear people saying about a leader doesn't just know the way, but they show the way. And so again, we give people permission to feel the way they feel and let them know. I was the person that used to cry when people say no to me and hang up on me. I was the same way. I was nervous standing in front of a room. We got to share those people, because what they see now is not who we were, even like 30 days ago, even last week. And I love what you were saying too, Curtis, about the CEOs and a Greg Cardone. I mean, it really kind of is unnerving to hear someone say they're a self-made millionaire, when we all know there's all kinds of people who make up that self-made millionaire. My mom told me something that stuck with me and I didn't understand. I think she's just being nice to me because I wasn't good at everything. And she said to me, you should probably, sell your strengths and buy your weaknesses. Now, I didn't know what she meant by that, with some of these conversations, but as I grew older, I understood that. And so that's what everyone's doing. So someone that's introvert needs to have those collaborations, like we said, take initiative, find someone that's, the personality that you want, because it's okay to be that way. And maybe the two of you can build something together. At the very least, you might learn something from them. And the opposite, like sometimes extroverts are just bouncing off the wall and the energy is just it's not the right place. So we sometimes also have to be around people who can make us a little bit more softer and quieter and calmer for that group that we're at, that we're with. So it works both ways. Definitely collaboration, I think, is key. I told you at the beginning, my name starts with a T. I'm not technical. I own that. And I mean it. I'm not technical, but I know a few things.
And that's the thing. Look, we figured this out together, right? We didn't do it. I didn't do it by myself. I knew I had something to show. Without your guys' help, I would not have been able to figure it out, right? That's what it's all about. It's about working together in collaboration. That's what our community is all about, is working together. I love that you speak in paraboles too. Parables, paraboles. I don't know how you pronounce that one word, but you speak in terms and what you were saying about your mom, where you sell your strengths and buy your weaknesses. I love that. Can you explain that a little bit more, if you wouldn't mind?
I believe that comes from wanting to be an entrepreneur and a business owner. So many people have this great idea and they want to take it to the market and they try to be everything. There's a reason why companies have salespeople. There's a reason why companies have a customer service person. There's a reason why they have an accounting department. And so, yes, the person doesn't have the money or to pay those people. However, there's a way for us to get all those skills required to run a business with our own services, sometimes without paying anything, bartering our services, and taking a look at the actual cost of not having the right people in those positions. And I'm working with people who are taking a hobby and now want to bring that to the market. And they tell me they're not a salesperson, they hate sales. So here's what's real. Nothing happens in life without sales. If you have a job, you applied for the job. They didn't just say, Tammy, we want you. I had to sell myself to get that job. If I'm single and I'm looking for a partner, I had to sell myself in some way or another with my personality, with my accolades, whatever it was, to get that person interested in me. And the same thing goes with us being in business. We're constantly selling ourselves because, I was a salesperson in the publishing space for more than 14 years. And the gentleman, fantastic owner, he used to have the salespeople sell a non-disclosure, sign a non-disclosure. Whereas if you left the company, you were not able to work in that same space for almost a year because he knew 30 something years in business, they were not buying the company, they were buying you. Right? So if you know that already, that tells you that it's huge, like in terms of your personality, but who you are. So you realize that, okay, I have something here. So that becomes one of your superpowers, so to speak, And so that's why I say we have to make sure we have the right people in our business and realize that we can't do everything on our own. It's just not possible. It really isn't. I have people that are studying stuff online and they're trying to figure out how to do website design. I know a person that's now looking at how she can do marketing. There's people that can do that, and she can offer the services of accounting to those people for free, bartering her services, so until she has the money to pay those people. So that's why I think it's so important that people understand that buying our weaknesses, buying our weaknesses, selling our strengths, we have to look at that. And so it comes, I think, from a lot of writing down the structure of what we want our business to look. And then like what you both have said, I think 2 or 3 of you have said that, look to who's doing what you want to do and see how they've structured their business. Maybe you have to do everything by yourself at the beginning, but you cannot go very far if you're doing it just by yourself.
That's right. If you want to scale up, yeah, for sure, you need help. Get to the peak, right?
Yeah,
absolutely. Thank you for breaking that down, because that's a valuable skill. Look, there are so many opportunities to create. And like I said, the whole point of this episode was because we all have ideas. We all have dreams. Jim, like you mentioned earlier, how many dreams have we thrown aside and said, oh, I shouldn't do that. Nobody wants that. Look, I remember as a teenager, I said, look, you remember we had the box cereals where you opened it up and sliced it open. You could throw some milk in there. I said, why not create a cereal? You have cup of soup. Why do we not have cup of cereal? And then like 5-10 years ago or after that, there's this big, box, or basically a cup that you crack open and throw in some milk. I'm like, I had that idea, but I didn't pursue it. Right. So again, there's so many ways to create and collaborate. I love that word. And bartering is another term you brought up, Tammy. Look, create that corporation, right? Build those people using their resources, using their skills or their assets. Maybe somebody else has the dollars, but you can bring them in on the partnership to help bring the income, or to help bring the expenditures to help build this business bigger. So this has been a great episode. I love where it's gone. I'm going to give each of you the opportunity to have a parting thought on this topic of initiative. Tammy, you were the last one to talk. So Jim, let's have your parting thoughts if you don't mind.
No, not at all. I was thinking earlier that, when we're talking about, no's, and we were talking about stepping out, the truth is we're going to fail our way to success, right? I mean, how many of us, had our parents strap on a pair of shoes and we just stood up and started running, right? We fell, we tripped, we hit our chin, we knocked our forehead, we fell backwards, we fell frontwards, we did all kinds of stuff. But we fail our way to success, but we need to continue to take that next step. Why? Because we know it's going to take us, is taking that initiative to take that next step. And so I wanted to encourage us. I think with our final word would be to encourage you to not let no's be final. I think it was Les Brown that, said years ago, he said, when he was selling televisions, right, he knew that for every 10, for every 9 no's he got, there was a yes coming, right? So he couldn't wait to hear the no's because he wanted to keep moving forward because he knew there was going to be a yes. So I want to encourage people that, you're going to get lots of no's. You're going to get people to use wisdom to decide whether you should listen to those no's. And sometimes, when doors close, you need to reevaluate whether you need to kick that door down or you need to just kind of, maybe shift a little to the right and go into that next door. So you need wisdom, but that only comes with people around you that have had that experience, that have gone through some of the stuff, and bring them along in your circle to help you get to that next level. And it's all about using your strengths and your weaknesses. If you're weak in an area, find someone that's strong in that area that can help you either learn how to develop that skill or can help propel you a little bit forward. Success leaves clues, so look for them. They're all over the place.
Sure. Cool. And then, so Tammy, what advice do you have for people out there on taking initiative?
I'm I'm a firm believer of looking at ourselves in the mirror, taking inventory of the things that we know that we are great at doing or we're good at doing, writing those down, post-it notes, wherever it is, to help build up our confidence. Because when I used to do in recruiting in human resources, we had people who didn't have a job. They came out of school or they were stay-at-home parents. And I would literally go through all the skill sets that they learned in these spaces, even someone that traveled for 5 years was unemployed, and all the skill set they learned, and they realized that they had transferable skills as a stay-at-home parent, as someone who was retired, whatever the case may be. And that was allowing them to see what they were capable of doing, which gave them confidence for them to take the initiative to apply for certain jobs that only said A, B, C, D, E is required, because they had experience in these areas that were transferable. So as an entrepreneur and as a human being, we should be writing down what we think we're really good at doing and how we can actually help other people with what we're doing, And I think in that space, we'll see the different areas where we serve right now, how we can take initiative to make those spaces better with what we know how to do. And just, I think organically, we'll just grow into that around being around other people, like you all are saying. And that's a big thing for me, is writing that down and having post-it notes all over the place. I have them all over.
Nice.
And even, even taking that next step in journaling. If I know people journal, but some people don't write down what they're good at. We're so hard on ourselves, and I blame it all on instant rice, minute made rice. Everything's supposed to be done in a minute. No, it doesn't happen like that. Just write things down, the things you're good at, what you want to work on, and how can you bring that out there and share with other people. And you're going to find something, like you said, Jim, we all have something to give. So we can actually find a way with what we're really good at, how we can serve other people. And then monetize on it. If that's what you're looking to do, monetize on that.
Absolutely. And you know what? We're trying to serve the coaches, authors, speakers, entrepreneurs. And like you said, we all have transferable skills. We all have something to learn from other people. But whether you believe it or not, you have something to teach. You have something that somebody else wants to learn, and somebody else will find a value. So share it out there and start sharing. I remember one time I heard, "Don't share your ideas." I don't know how to embrace this, because don't share your ideas with people who are going to put you down. Like you said, those no's that come along, Jim. But like minds, people who are encouraging and inspirational. Start sharing your voice. Start sharing that message. Look, we talked about selling. Right now, we're selling people on taking initiative. Right? Hopefully people hear this out there and go, "You know what? I have a great idea. I'm going to explore it. These people have inspired me. I'm going to see where I can go with this idea." Right? So we're selling people on the idea of taking initiative. So again, this is a great conversation, and I thank you all for being part of it. I think we've shown how valuable the community is. And by having access to Beacon of Leadership, they have access to people like yourselves who are inspirational and are helping people to grow and to become a beacon of leadership. So I'm going to give people an opportunity to connect with you out there. So Jim, you went first last time. Tammy, how can people connect with you and learn more about you?
Well, the main source is Facebook, because I'm doing everything on Facebook. My Women Champagne Real Estate Group is there, my Crypto Smart Chicks, and also the marketing. So Facebook, Tammy Williams, very simple. And then, of course, as our relationship grows, then there's other areas, but that would be the main one. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then Jim, our relationship expert, you've been valuable in our community. Always glad to have your contribution. How can people learn from you and get more information from you?
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, RJ, and it's always a pleasure to be, connect with you guys and hang out and chat about these things. This is great, and so you can get me at jimhetherington.com. That's where I live, and I keep it really simple because I can't remember anything else. So I can remember my name, so I just put a .com after it. You can find me there, and I'm all over Facebook. So look, check me out all over the place. But that's where I'm living.
Perfect. Awesome, Jim.
And so Curtis, we've had a great conversation today.
We
what
did.
are your takeaways from today?
Collaboration, working as a team. Make sure you honor the people who are helping you, because you never know where you're going to end up, right? Because the one person you say thank you to, or say, "Oh, that's a great job," and take their idea and run with it, that could be your next partner, or that could be that one idea that's going to blow you up, right? Like make you the person you're going to be in the future. You never know, right? Also, I think Jim and Tammy for being out for us today. Glad to see you guys here. Really good stuff. Like I've never thought we'd have this kind of conversation tonight, but I really enjoyed it. For those who are watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell, and smash that like button. All right, back to you, RJ.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. This has been an amazing conversation. And we are Beacon of Leadership. We're shining the light on leadership. And so thank you for joining us. I hope we've convinced you of the value. Like I said, I don't know if it's the number one skill you need, but certainly it is a valuable skill that you must possess if you want to achieve anything. Certainly if you want to be a leader who is of service to your community. So Thanks everybody for joining us
Thank
today.
you.
Again, I'm RJ Horner along with,
Curtis Leong.
and we are your beacon of leadership. And until next time, better days ahead.
Awesome. Good night. Good day. See ya.